Let's see who we're on yet. Waiting for the stream. All right, guys. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Crypto Chat Live. We are with the Dynamo guys. There's Sean down at the bottom. Sean Neal, creator of DYNAMOCOIN, co-founder Keith Carpentier. Right above him.
Hello, Dynamo family.
And let's hope our buddy gets on soon. Let's see if we can start getting some of our peeps. What is it? Pun.
He's at the bar.
Puncraft. Puncraft.
Warming it up.
So we're going to try to go a little quick today because we got a lot of things to do. But let's try to cover some things in crypto news. The first one up is COVID NFTs. You had to think that this was going to happen sooner or later with everything that's gone on in the last year. But San Marino, the first place to approve blockchain COVID certificates on VECHAIN. So now you'll have an NFT that proves you had your COVID vaccination on it. But it does come with a lot of debate. Do you want it? There's privacy issues there. Guys, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, we talk about this all the time, right? Like what is public, what is private? Yeah, sure, you can, you know, privatize and securitize some of the data on the chain. But, you know, I think, honestly, I say, is this really a technology story or is it a privacy story? I think people are looking to this as a litmus test. Like, if we can do it for COVID, you know, what's the next bug to come down the line? And then what is the limit and restriction on your health data, you know, out there on the blockchain? So I think it's really interesting, and it'll be very curious to see how it plays out.
Sean?
Yeah, I love this. I mean, this is exactly all the things that we're talking about. You know, this is kind of like the stadium admission ticket. It's specific to one person. I did go through some of the details of VECHAIN in this implementation, and it's actually not, you know, like name and social security number isn't embedded on the blockchain and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, as long as you trust what they're doing, and you can verify it if you know how to read the code, and I'm sure that smart people will look at this and go and validate the code and say, no, they're capturing or they're releasing or the security is no good. You know, like that's part of the beauty of blockchain, is that when you say, hey, there's going to be some kind of potentially sensitive information out there, anyone in the world can go look at this code and vet it. So yeah, it's perfect example. Interestingly, VECHAIN was down about 8 or 9% after the news. Mm-hmm. So didn't do anything for their token, but you know, great use case. Yeah,
it seems like VECHAIN is the first one coming out with a lot of active uses, and they haven't really pumped in value as much as I would have expected them.
Down 76% from their high 3 months ago.
Yeah.
so yeah, it's a little rough ride.
Counterintuitive.
I mean, there was a sea of red this morning too. Altcoins and Bitcoin, everybody's taking a beating today. So I don't know. And stocks were down too. I didn't get it. You know, usually it's asymmetric, but everything was just not a good day to be hitting refresh.
All right. Thinking of that, let's go into the next story. It is boom. Bitcoin price will. Some are debating that the Bitcoin price may go down after Grayscale unlocks a lot of the Bitcoin in there. I think, was it after 6 months it gets unlocked? And some are speculating that there could be a sell-off. But in all the reports that I'm seeing, it's like 16,000 Bitcoin. But that's 16,000 Bitcoin totally in Grayscale's trust. It's not what's coming. It's getting unlocked in 6 months. It seems like a lot of these stories are not accurate.
Yeah, the unlock is on July 20th, I think, is 16,400. That actually is the unlock amount. But you know, define huge, right? There's, I don't know, 17 or 18 million Bitcoin in circulation. 16,000, you know, do a little quick math, is what, 0.9%, not even 1%. So even if every single person sold, and think about when they locked in 6 months ago. So, you know, are they going to take a ton of profit Probably not. Like I
Mhm.
don't know the details of what the grant was and everything else, but if you bought 6 months ago, would you be dumping today? Especially with people talking about 135,000 worst case scenario by December, right? Like, are you gonna go dump your bags at 33 or something? Probably not. So.
Yeah, and also, Sean, like you talk about that, like in my experience investing, if it's something where the entire world is talking about it and it's completely known by anyone and everyone,
Yep.
those aren't the things that really rock the market, right? It's
Already
a known
baked.
event. Yeah, it's already baked in. Everybody knows about it. It's the thing that is unknown, or that black swan type of event that impacts the market. But something like this is just clickbait.
Yep.
Do you think a lot of the things in the market right now, it dropping from, the high 50s to where it is now, it's a lot of just, I don't know. They call it FUD, or social media influencers creating that.
That's hard to say. Yeah, I don't know if who knows what drives, right? These things are driven mostly by institutional investors. Like, these are not retail people moving the market this much. So, who knows what those 0.001% of the people that own 80% of the stuff are doing, right?
Yeah. It's a whole different market. It's different than the stock market. It's moving so differently.
Yeah, I would agree with Sean. I think, that whole social media influencer is reacting to the market dynamics, and of course, sensationalizing it and making it social, putting it out there and kind of amplifying that story to a broader audience. But I don't think those guys are the ones, pulling the strings on the overall direction of the market.
You guys have traded for years. Do you see I know we're not saying we give it investment advice or anything, but are you able to even do technical analysis on a crypto market? I mean, it just doesn't look like it's rational, or it works the same way.
Fibonacci, I see these people doing all the Fibonacci stuff and the 50-day moving average. No way, man. No, that's just nonsense.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, old tools and old rules for a new market. Absolutely not.
No.
All right, next up, let's go to our next story. NFT. Let's move this over a little bit.
This is really interesting, Joe. I'm glad you pulled this one for a discussion, because I'm going to throw my hand in the air, Dynamo Nation, and say this is a new one. I'm not familiar with Cellland and their project, so I would welcome the primer.
So this is from Cointelegraph. NFT project, a crypto advertising billboard, has launched, giving individuals and businesses the chance to purchase pixels that have visibility for years to come. And they say you'll have millions of unique eyeballs on your advertising every single month. I guess a blank billboard they've already put up on OpenSea. And someone bid and bought one for 8.4 ETH, about $20,000 at that time. But it doesn't say where or any. I don't understand all the specifics of this.
Yeah, this is kind of interesting, and I've talked about this a little bit, particularly in the virtual reality space. Of course, this is basically just a web page, right? So there's a web page with this billboard. There's a 20-something day cycle where you can buy the individual pixels. It's kind of like an auction market, and each pixel right now is like, I don't know, half an ETH or something like that. So one pixel is $1,000. In order to buy enough to make like even a remotely crude logo, you'd have to spend $50,000 or $60,000, I think, to get enough pixels all next to each other. So right now it's just a bunch of random dots, which is kind of interesting that people are just wasting $500 on a dot. But I guess that's
that's the other thing, is how do you prove that millions of unique eyeballs a month, as it says in the story too?
Yeah,
because it was just a website.
It's just a website. If their server goes down, I don't know how they're going to secure it. I mean, it's on their blockchain, so I guess. But to me, like the value is going to be in the domain name, right? Like if you have that domain name tied to the website and you have the visitors coming to that website, then that's where your utility is. So yeah, I don't know. It seems pretty centralized. I think the more interesting. This is a precursor to something a little more interesting. I think again, like having these virtual reality lands that are fully 3D, immersive. People can quote unquote walk around them and then there's billboards in those things that people can buy space on it. I think that's maybe a next generation application.
Okay. Keith, anything to add there?
Yeah,
I think you were kind of confused too, like I am.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions on that one. I'm struggling to see the value proposition from the advertiser standpoint. I don't know how they're demonstrating eyeballs. And I think, Joe, you had mentioned prior to us going live that, you own that space in perpetuity. So my digital billboard is going to be up and visible for 100 years. I think, Sean, you said there's a 20-day rotation. So even that, drill down on that. What does that mean? Like I'm up for 10 seconds every 20 days, an hour every 20 days, a day every 20 days. I think there's a lot more questions than answers. Interesting, to be sure. And it's always great to see, the expansion of, the role of, what you can do with blockchain. But this one's still a little fuzzy for me.
All right. Next up, I always find surveys hilarious because who knows the accuracy of a lot of surveys. I mean, how many political elections have we went through, and the surveys are always wrong on what's going to happen. But in this world, I would think this might be kind of right. Survey in the UK says 21% of UK crypto investors say they know nothing about crypto. And then it was something like 36% of retail crypto investors say they are poor in that sector or non-existent.
Yeah, this one's kind of interesting to me. I'll jump into the waters. Before we came on, I had read this article. It's like, okay, so just for my own knowledge, what are we talking about in terms of a corollary, let's say, to U.S. stocks? And according to a Federal Reserve survey in 2016, granted that's a few years old, but not that old, only 14% of American families actually directly owned U.S. stocks, but 50% owned stocks via funds, mutual funds. And I sort of found those numbers really interesting. And it led me to wonder, obviously this is a discussion around accessibility and understanding of crypto. And maybe that will come, and engagement will come, and investment will come as some of these EFTs that are slated in funds in the crypto space do hit the ground. Perhaps it's something that people are waiting for, that diversification, and there's a higher comfort level with, some sort of fund, and people dip their toe in the water then.
Yeah, here's what is it? The concern is that too many people are buying blind without knowing what they're doing and being influenced by basically their risky investments. Sean?
Yeah, that 21% number is kind of interesting because to me, that means 79% are probably lying.
Yeah, exactly.
Or maybe 78%. I'll give 1% the benefit of the doubt that they may actually read a technical white paper and understand a value proposition, or what just even what a blockchain is, or proof of work and proof of stake, or the risks and the value and all those. I mean, there's just so much complexity around blockchain. I don't know where the 21% number comes from.
I mean, how many investors in the regular stock market really know? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. When you buy a penny stock and it's run by a family, a small family with 20 employees, and the company's worth $8 million, and they sell a couple $100,000 a month and whatever, right? Little kids' race cars or something. Do you know anything about that company? Do you know anything about the guy running it? I mean, yeah, you get little bits of SEC disclosures, but those things are almost useless. So yeah, this is like buying penny stocks. That's it. That's exactly right.
And also too, Joe, I was thinking about, turning around that discussion, because I know, I know the question is framed up as the little guy. But I read another interesting headline today that said within the next 5 years, U.S. hedge funds expect to hold 10.5% of their assets in crypto. That is a mind-blowing number. And, again, it makes you think about this whole reality of investing in crypto and where's the smart money going? You know, where is the big money going? Candidly, usually it's a good thing to follow the smart money. And if these guys are increasing their asset allocation to crypto in such a meaningful way, perhaps the average investor should have it on their radar too. Interestingly enough, the article further went on to highlight a bit of potentially a cultural difference. The US was at about 10.5%, but the UK was around 6.5%. Yes. And again, I don't necessarily want to read too much into that, but still a 40% delta between the two. And I know the story that you highlighted for tonight was more aimed at the UK, or a survey of the UK crypto market.
I just think it's interesting that UK survey came out right around the whole Binance UK, banks issue. So that's very convenient. Very convenient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder who sponsored the survey. We should look up and see who sponsored the survey.
Barclays or something.
Yeah, exactly. Brought to you by Barclays, HSBC. Your friends at.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the next story because I know everybody's got things they got to go do. With all these different countries kind of jumping into crypto, here's an Argentinian lawmaker proposing a bill that businesses will be allowed to pay employees in crypto. Interesting, huh? It's all coming around real quick.
Yeah, I think there's a certain degree of headline grabbing on this one, Joe.
Yeah, because it's just offered a bill that can be turned down in 5 minutes.
I'm not quite sure. This perhaps is a bit disingenuous, but look, it got this Argentinian lawmaker in the news. We're all talking about it here in the Northeast of the United States. So interesting. I think there's a lot of high hurdles to it. I'm curious as an observer, like what is the intersection of that with taxation? Obviously governments derive their income through taxation, commonly through wages. And if you're going to enable payment, within crypto, how is their government going to get their share? Is it going to remain in Argentinian pesos? Is the government's cut going to be in crypto? What is the intersection of taxation when they explore something like this? You don't
see crypto all being centralized. I mean, more and more the way the countries are doing it, you're not going to be able to hide your money anymore when it's centralized a nation's currency. You can't, just like in Korea right now, you can't leave that country with $1.
So a precursor you're saying is they would do
they'll know more than they know now.
Yeah.
Big US dollar is easier to hide than cryptocurrency. You pay somebody in cash.
This may be something, with like premise of, legalization of drugs too, right? Like people are going to do it. So rather than try to restrict them, put a light on it, control it, and tax it. So as crypto becomes more and more mainstream, that kind of narrative may come out of the politicians. I don't know, but yeah, it's the complete antithesis of blockchain and crypto in general. It shouldn't be centralized, should be anonymous, right? Of course, those are all the things that governments hate. So it'll be interesting to see lawmakers saying, yeah, let's make it anonymous. Let's make it so we can't track it. Let's make it decentralized. No, that's not what they're talking about, right? That's where all their power is from. So.
That's their income stream, right? Like they're not letting go of that.
Nope.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys, we've done our 30 minutes. How quick and easy was that?
That flew.
We did it. You guys have anything else to add before we send Keith off overseas?
Where's Pun?
Pun
I want to know.
You know what? I think I don't know if this tweeted out to the Discord. Maybe that's.
We got to work on that. I sent you an email about that. I can't figure out how to get it on Discord.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
So, all good. Well, thank you guys.
Cool.
I wish Pun was here, but he's not.
Cool. Another 30 minutes to the Dynamo community out there in the YouTube verse. Anyway, pleasure hanging out with you guys for 30 minutes.
Good night.